Have you ever just looked around at the people in your life, maybe even siblings raised in the exact same house, and wondered why they're so incredibly different from you? Like, completely poles apart in their basic nature? Well, today we're diving into an explainer of a seriously fascinating framework by an author named Xu Feng. It presents this totally unique system for decoding the hidden clues of our past lives, just by looking at our everyday personality traits. It's a really captivating lens for viewing human behavior, and we're going to break the whole thing down step by step. So we have to start right here with a massive question the text poses. Why are there such quantum differences between people? I mean, you look around and there's supposedly only one overarching human nature, right? But people are just so diverse. Some folks operate on entirely different frequencies. Why is that? Well, according to the author, it's actually because people have completely different origins. The source text explains this wild diversity through the concept of a holographic universe. Basically, in this framework, your life itself is holographic. Think of it like a giant cosmic hard drive. Your personal life information base contains absolutely all the data from all the ages of your past life journeys, stretching back across every generation. Now, most of the time, this info is hidden from our daily awareness, but it occasionally sneaks out in flashes of our personality. And by catching those fleeting clues, we can actually trace our deepest origins. Because we come from such wildly diverse backgrounds, mankind is described here as essentially a rabble. The mortal world is kind of like a tenement yard that houses lives originating from completely different dimensions. The text divides humanity into three primary slices of origin. You've got the heaven world, the animal world, and then the folks who are just continuously reincarnating from the mortal world itself. Okay. Let's jump right into section 1, Echoes of the Heavens, where we trace our spiritual origins. Have you ever been told you have highly abstract, so-called holographic order thinking? If so, hey, congratulations. The text posits you are actually a god, originating from the side of the greatest creator. Or maybe your thinking is entirely formless. That suggests a past life as a Buddha from the Elysium world. And for those of you with this deep-seated instinct that you can magically reshape reality, you just might be a former super-celestial being. But the heavenly echoes don't just stop at the very top. Think about your relationship with freedom. Do you inherently crave it? Do you seek joy but without overstepping boundaries? You are likely a celestial being. Alternatively, maybe you constantly dream of flying, you have zero fear of death, and you honestly feel a bit disconnected from this mortal world. That points straight to the 10,000-year world. And if you're one of those benevolent, fun-loving rebels who absolutely hates being tied down by institutions or family, your compass points to the 1,000-year world. Moving right along to section 2, the mortal realm, focusing on sages and humans. Here we're comparing two distinctly earthly paths. On one hand, you have the highly influential figures in society. Think sages or saints. Their past life clue is possessing super wise, gifted, taiji thinking. In stark contrast to that, we have the everyday mortal human. If you deeply love your nation, your culture, your family life, and you view all of that as perfectly justified and normal, the text says you are simply continuing a long, steady cycle as a mortal human. Let's get into section 3. This is where it gets really wild. Traces of the animal kingdom, instincts and appetites. So, dietary preferences are actually a massive indicator here. If you get immense pleasure from eating meat and you're completely untroubled by the life that was lost to get it on your plate, the framework traces your origins straight back to a predatory carnivore. On the flip side, if you naturally gravitate toward a vegetarian diet, you're inherently a bit timid and you seek the safety of groups or religion, you are likely a docile herbivore. And fascinatingly, these animal instincts totally translate into modern career goals too. Like if you have this burning, innate desire to be a police officer, you're hyper-aware of theft and you just really want to catch criminals, the framework points to a feline past. You were a cat. But if you fiercely want to be a soldier so you can defend your homeland, your past life was that of a loyal dog or a wolf. There are some other highly specific clues too. Do you dream of flying but still feel deeply, deeply attached to earthly life? You were a bird. Are you prone to taking or hoarding things that aren't exactly yours? You were a rodent. And this last one is actually quite poignant. If your nature is to just silently bear hardship, endure bullying without resisting, and accept a difficult destiny because you feel powerless to fight back, the text says you were a farm animal from the livestock world. Now, it's worth noting a specific boundary the author sets here. The source explicitly excludes insects and a lot of plants from this particular reincarnation cycle. It states they belong to entirely other life cycles that never directly cross over into the human world. So you aren't going to find human personality traits mapping back to a butterfly or, an oak tree in this specific framework. Which brings us to Section 4, the Dark Realms: Devils, Goblins, and Spirits. The framework identifies 3 distinct dark origins. If someone is naturally aggressive, cunning, and actually derives pleasure from seeing someone else in pain, they hail from the devil world. But what about that person you know who has extraordinary, endearing charm, but underneath it all, they're fundamentally entirely selfish? They might have been a goblin. And if someone is a master of trivial manipulation, always watching for a chance to seize others' love or property, their origin points to an evil spirit. Much like the insects and plants we talked about, entities from the extreme realms don't make the leap to humanity either. The text notes that life originating in the inflamed layer, the frozen layer, and the netherworld usually do not directly enter the human realm. They stay in their own lane. Finally, Section 5, your past and future. Let's find your coordinates. The text advises us that to truly figure out our previous lives from A to Z, a quick glance just isn't going to cut it. We have to observe and verify these clues repeatedly. You start by drawing analogies and checking yourself, honestly, against these 18 dispositions. Plus, the author notes a universal truth: like attracts like. That means you can find shadows of your own past by looking at the people you associate with the most. By combining all these observations, you identify your current evolutionary coordinate point. Now, reading through all of this might stir up some pretty strong feelings. The author totally anticipates this and gives a very reassuring reminder. He writes that some people might be thrilled while others might be downright angry when they identify their traits. His advice: please calm down, because what you see is your past, not your present. No matter what you were in the past, you are now a human. Your origin story doesn't dictate your ultimate value today. And for the skeptics tuning in, the author includes a great touch of tasteful playfulness. The text openly invites anyone who might think this entire framework is absolute nonsense to just lower their defenses. Treat the whole exercise as a fun, interactive game of personality typing. No harm, no foul. Ultimately, whether you view this as deep spiritual truth or just an entertaining psychological mirror, the author leaves us with a genuinely profound thought. Once you know your coordinate system, and you know exactly where you currently stand based on your past, where is that coordinate pointing you next? What is the destination of your life's evolution in the future? It's certainly something to chew on as you go about your day. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.